Hello, this is Solomon, and we are going to be looking at two tournament replays and one 1v1. Tournament replays were sent to me by Quebec. I unfortunately did not participate in a tournament. I was away from my computer at the time of it. Okay, let's go. First match. France Soviets versus Italy and Soviets. In the older first tournament I played in of the recent tournaments, there was tons of USA and UK. Now it's just tons of Soviets, Italy, and France. It's the maps really like those early aggression comps. And France and Soviets can be really brutal, as can Italy. Well, here's the first major mistake. He plays decryption. One of these two does it, and this is the most pointless decryption reeled, and it's incredibly not useful because, well, first of all, it's Quebec. He goes M15s all the time. Okay, so in Quebec didn't camo. So he's either going to be armor-based rushing with M15, or he's going to be M15 rushing, or double infantry rushing with Soviets. And it's immediately apparent which one he's doing because Italy has to build a production building right away since it takes so long to tech. So you just need to start teching it right away. And if they don't, I mean, if he doesn't build his production tool right here, you have so much time to react to it. Secondly, if it's double infantry, France can just make tanks real quick. Yeah, they just make some tanks. And those will just kill all the infantry. Like a handful of S-35 or B1 bis, preferably B1 bis. Like those will just kill the infantry so easily. Oh, I think yeah. So decryption's pointless. There's no reason to play it. So we get two depots from everyone. You get double AT base from France. Barracks from each Soviet player, obviously. Putting the AT base right here is really weird. Since this is really vulnerable, if the enemy can push forward for whatever reason, this is gonna die. Out of the AT base here and like right here or something. It's making Lafleys, which is not good. Because first of all, you're not gonna catch up the M15s of Lafleys at all. And Lafleys die in one hit to M15s. So let's build the AT guns because the Lafley mobility doesn't really do a whole lot here. Since you're never gonna catch the M15s anyway, and AT guns are a lot more resilient. So they can at least take a couple hits instead of one. Like, I don't understand why there aren't any French tanks, because S-35 fight M15 well, and B1 bis will just straight up kill S-35. B1 bis will just straight up kill M15 in a fight. Now, you don't build only B1 bis because M15s will just go around the B1 bis or even through them with Blitz and just ignore the B1 bis. But it's good to mix some tanks in. Also, if you throw some tanks in here, you can deal with enemy infantry really easily. But there's no French tanks for some reason. You only need a handful of AT to turn a fight. Here's the second. Here's the other big issue. This has happened in previous games. This happens in general. The M15s go down his flank. Yet there is zero AT here. There isn't even infantry here. Like, AT gun, like, two AT guns here, or even here, if there's recon right here, and you want to get the ambush off, just put AT guns right here, and you keep, like, 2 or 3 AT guns, and hit, like, 3 infantry, and you can stop any pushes. If you have the surprise. If you don't have surprise because the enemy has recon, just do like 1 more AT gun and maybe 2 more infantry. And you're still spending less supply than enemy to cover this flank. Lafley, so much Lafleys, like, they are too slow. Their mobility is really nice in most situations, but it doesn't matter in this situation. They're not fast enough to deal with M15s. And this is almost frustrating to see since this has happened in previous tournaments. I mean, just thinking about what the M15s can do, like you need to pre-position your units. Think about how the enemy's gonna react. Uh, yeah, the Soviet player didn't position that well. Or, he's still gonna win this fight though, it looks like. But I think he could have took a lot, significantly less losses. A depot's gone. And now he's going air since there's no reason to build more M15s. M15s are fruit or killing the depots, so nice building air. And that's another big problem. Like France spent so much. Well, this is a problem of AT in general since it's has such limited use. It only fights tanks. And France spent so many on the AT. That's another reason they should have built tanks. So if Italy stops building their own tanks, your AT is actually, I mean, you have useful units. Now France has 2 AT bases and tons of tank destroyers that aren't going to do anything. Like France way overinvested in AT. Did they capture? Oh, and they actually captured this barracks somehow. Oh, ends up surrendering null. Yeah, so. Okay. I'm trying to think about what should happen. So, yeah, make something infantry and don't let the civil infiltration happen. So, France needs to go armor base and AT base. Because with armor and AT, you can push through. Well, armor, AT, and Soviet infantry can push through anything. They can kill the enemy infantry blob. And they can kill the M15 blob. Like, they'll just win a straight up fight. The only issue is the mobility the M15s have, and if they can get around somehow. That's the biggest issue, but again, you can avoid that by, like, this side is your choke point right here. Just cover the city. On this side over here, again, just put infantry in a town right here, infantry in these forests, this general area, and some AT guns. And enemy Italy will have to spend a lot more supply to break through a defense right here than you do with their M15s versus AT and infantry. Like, it's just lock this down, then just push forward with your B1 bis, Guardia, and AT guns. Like, what's the enemy gonna do? It's really difficult when to deal with that. Since ideally you'll be generating so much pressure that Quebec won't be able to go here. Because if he does go here, like, he won't be spending enough. Like, ideally you'll just be pushing through the ground, and they'll have to spend their money more to immediately to deal with the issue. Maybe Quebec can still go here, but if you're generating enough pressure, like what I was saying, like, you'll just have so much resources that you'll just start pushing through and killing them. Maybe not. It's still kind of difficult since you should go for, like, you can't go through this town. Well, actually, no, never mind. You can just use your infantry, the Soviet heavy infantry, to go through the town. Yeah. So, no, France, Soviets still win. It's just that in all the tournaments I've seen, the people keep on failing to adequately protect their flank, or they just keep on getting outmaneuvered by Popsicle. I mean, by Quebec and whoever else he's playing with. Now, if you look at the other continuation where it's more even and, like, things just are going even, France goes here. Well, actually, I'm trying to think. Can Soviets go here? Actually, let me think for a second. Since we've talked about this before about who goes here, Soviets or France or whoever. Obviously, if France only has the AT on the field, like here, France has to go air, because if Soviets go air, then they're going to have a lot less infantry than enemy, so they just lose, since AT obviously can't attack infantry. So there's not enough anti-infantry material on the field. But let's say France goes air. They're worse than, like, Sayedas are 630 speed and French basic fighters are 540 speed, and Veltros obviously kill the advanced French fighter, the DS 520, I think it's called. But still, you can make it fairly equivalent. Then you have Soviet AA. It's still really open-ended, but both Soviets go AA, and both air is similar enough, especially on the map this small that the speed only matters so much. That's a possible continuation. France goes air in this situation. If France had armor, then maybe Soviets could go air, but that really depends on completely on how the match is playing out. And use French armor to fight off the Soviet infantry, but that's still really risky. It depends who controls these towns. If the enemy Soviets have gotten in this town already, there's so many factors. But in general, the biggest issue this game was over-investing in AT so much and not building any French armor. And obviously not preparing for this flank right here that happened. Okay, just making sure my settings are working since I have a new computer. Not much else to look at. I'm not gonna look at the second game he sent me since it's just killing noobs. So now let's look at it. No, not that one. This one. Side by side, a very brutal map, and like they're very quick maps. This one's really interesting. It's Evil Lock and Pomegranate again against Quebec and whoever this guy is, Tom G. I don't know. Soviets France versus Soviets France. I'd probably say the strongest team comp on this map. France is brutal on this map. Also, Maginot is garbage. Bunkers are garbage. I mean, you can still use it on this map, but I still don't think it's good. I mean, there's better things to do, as Quebec clearly demonstrates. Devil AT base. That's it. That's interesting. That's really. I mean, I need to think of. Does he really need that many AT units that quick? Maybe the idea is to try to rush across and just kill the French armor right away before Soviet infantry can get over here. Or while Soviet infantry are busy fighting these infantry, the AT just kills the French armor like in the first 2 minutes. Maybe that's it. I'm not sure. If not that, I'm not sure why I went double AT base. I'm not sure you need that many AT units that quickly. I have no idea why Tom G built a recon. That's not really useful at all. It's now he has 3 less infantry. And as this is happening, pretty good splitting from Pomegranate to keep the AT array. Here's the other problem, the artillery AA base. So now he's just spamming out light artillery. And that's just a very good question of do you build Sol 40s or light artillery when playing France? Like, which way do you want to go? Since opening tend to be like B1 bis, light artillery, AT, or like Sol 40 and light, or like Sol 40, disperse Sol 40 and recon. Or B1 bis, recon, light artillery, stuff like that. Go either way, really. Then usually AT is thrown in the mix. And generally, I would say Sol 40 is superior to light artillery, except not on this map. Let's just play out a little more. Yeah, light artillery is this is gonna do so much damage so quickly. Now the reason why light artillery is superior to Sol 40, especially on this map, well, exceptionally, like, generally Sol 40 is superior, as I said, but on this map it's different. Because, right, like, on this map, matches are decided in the first couple minutes usually. And these have a much higher damage output than the soft 40s. Like this can't do enough damage in a relevant time frame. Like your damage output is so much lower. And this match is only gonna be a couple minutes. So they're just doing so much just damage. Like in a longer game, you could probably like just kill all the AT with like say 6 soft 40s, but you can only make so many soft 40s so quick. Just lost one of them. And their damage is minimal. Wow, these do so much damage, they're just killing an enemy infantry blob. While there's not enough soft 40s on the field to do meaningful damage, you're not really killing stuff. Like losing that one soft 40 was so painful. The other big issue is that, okay, light artillery has 800 meter range, soft 40s have 650 meter range, which essentially means the light artillery can shoot up to 150 meters behind the soft 40s, because if they get any closer, then the soft 40s can start shooting light artillery. Usually that doesn't really matter, because you're going to be more than like, you're generally not right in front of your base. But on a map this small, you are right in front of your base, so it's really easy for the light artillery to get in range of your buildings. While on the bigger map, like, you could keep the light artillery zoned away with the soft 40s. It's also worth noting about both these players in one depot, while there's French went 2 depots and Soviets went 1 depot. And France definitely should have went 1 depot. Like, I'm not saying soft 40s can't work, but with this opening versus this enemy France opening, you can't lose a single soft 40. Since you really need to get up to like 6 soft 40s just to reach that critical mass where you start doing damage fast enough. Like you can't afford to take losses like this. I'd be on business pointless. No reason to make that. This is just gonna die today to the AT. Also, recon is fine now. It's just that I don't really think you should build it in like the first 40 seconds. Because again, it's 3 less heavy infantry to enemy. So like if you lose that first infantry fight, you might just end up losing the game, so. Okay, so there should have been more infantry. Like if there's a bunch of infantry right here and infantry right here, as all these artillery start firing their barrage at like a building or something, just have all your infantry come out. Like what he did it with this, since all the artillery was shooting something else, and it was a really good opportunity. But didn't he push his back for some reason? Like this is his only opportunity to get some damage in. Like he needs to go forward. Like if his infantry was to spread a little bit better and he could get like a trap right here going, it'd be really good. That was really painful. Like the micro isn't good enough to make the strat work. And you need really good micro to be what these guys are doing. Like the soft 40s need to be shooting as much as possible to get the damage in. And at the same time, they can't be taking hits. Like he's doing a pretty decent job of it, but like these 2 players are doing a really solid job. What, like losing the soft 40s earlier was really painful. Oh, come on, get the barrage off on the lap, please. Like, see, yeah, the enemy has too much center map control. Like, they're pushed too far forward, they're just getting the barrages off and killing all the buildings. Like, if Evil Lock hadn't lost his soft 40s earlier, if they managed to keep the enemy pushed a little bit more forward at it, they might have been able to do something. Again, the major issue is his soft 40s just do too little damage in too little time. When, especially when an enemy just has so much cheap units, it's really difficult to make it work. Like, since the artillery was just killing all the infantry, it's difficult. And it's also worth noting that Quebec has done this before. So I don't understand why people keep on doing the same thing to encounter. He said I have to look at last match, but I know I think Evil Laka did soft 40s before on this map. Not sure that, or at least someone else did. I'm just thinking about the match. Yeah, no. I think I do believe you could make soft 40s and Soviet infantry work against what these two did, but it will be difficult. I definitely say it's easier to do this opening and combo than do what they did. Now we're just gonna look at a quick 1v1. If you're good at the game, like I know Quebec is gonna be watching this video, you can ignore this if you want. It's just gonna be me against Pulse. Now, if you're new to the game, I'm just gonna go over something basic real quick, which is you don't need recon early. You just don't. So let's look at this match real quick. It's Soviets versus US on Tank Graveyard, which is a decent map. Not that bad. Better than a lot of other maps. Not as good as behind enemy lines though. Anyway, so he does Blitz, I do Decryption. This Decryption is amazing most of some of the time. Sometimes you don't really need it. Now here's the issue, we're both going for a depot. And for some reason, he's doing barracks. I mean, now he sends out an armor base, thank God. Like, I just did an armor base right away. Since you don't need recon to kill depots. Like, this depot is so exposed. I don't care if infantry are hiding in the forest. I like it. I can just shoot the depot from right here, and it dies. If you did 3 depot, I maybe wouldn't have opened an armor base. I'm not entirely sure. I also decided to send the barracks all the way to the back over here. It's not reflecting on my screen for some reason, but anyway, so Willie's barracks. So this is 25 supply. My barracks is only 10 supply, so I have 15 more supply to build on tanks. I'm just gonna spam out T26. Now, first I wasn't sure to go for here or over here, since he obviously, like, if he was attacking rangers, he could just burst out of the town in this forest if he wanted to. But he's not attacking rangers, or even really building infantry, so I'm not really worried. I was like, oh, maybe I can go over here. I play Blitz on the sector right here. These are GIs, but it still potentially might kill me, so I just decided to go over here and finish off the armor base by default. Now he gets Lees, which are difficult to deal with light tanks, but you could potentially build a KV1 here if you want. Or just more T26s, which is probably better. 2 GIs, they aren't going to do anything. The big issue for US is that stewards cost 50% more, and all they get is more mobility. So he has to build these. But no, he doesn't just surrendering. It was kind of bizarre. Like, yeah, just open armor base. If you're taking 4 defaults, just open armor base. Or AT base even if you know your enemy's going armor. If you're doing 3 depots or less, just do whatever the hell you want. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but when a depot is just exposed, you can't defend it with infantry on this map. This early, you just can't. So you need to enemies just can go armor base and kill up tanks. Then if you're 1 depot ahead, that's really huge. Yeah, I know what you see there. And that is the end of this video.